Daf Ayin Amud Aleph, right at the top. Ve'ein noitel rishus. So the Mishnah said that two people can be nois and rishus, they can be mevatel, but they cannot acquire. Ve'ein noitel rishus. They cannot receive the rights of others. Why does the Mishnah have to teach me this? It already said that it said previously that if there are two people, two residents, they can acquire the rishus from the other, but two people, they asr on each other. So therefore, two people cannot be noitel rishus, because then you'd have two people and one would asr on the other. The Chiddush is teaching us that even if, when they received the rishus from the others, even if the other residents at the time they were mevatel rishus to these two, they said to one, you acquire almanas to be makna to the second one. Now you might think that two people can't be noitel rishus. Why is that? Because they're noitel rishus, but they still asr on each other. You might have thought that if one, however, subsequently is mevatel to the second one, it might work. Even more than that, you might think that if the other residents told the first one that they're giving him their rights, they're giving the rights to the chosr almanas on condition that he subsequently is mevatel to the second, you might think it does work. Kamash malan, that it doesn't, because at the time that he was mekabel, there was no heter to carry in the chosr, because each one would asr on the other. And therefore, the bittul is ineffective. So you cannot subsequently be mevatel to the second one. So it's telling the Chiddush that even if they said, k'ni almanas lahaknas, the second one, also there as well, the bittul does not help if it's for two people. Boy minei abayim merabah had the following shayla: chamisha sheshwein b'chalzar echos. If you have 5 residents in one chalzar, v'shalkach echem v'lo yirev, and one of them forgot to join the Eruv, so now he has to be mevatel rishus to the other ones. The question is, kishu mevatel rishusai sorach levatel kol echad ve'echad loy. Does he have to be mevatel to each one individually, each one separately, or can he be mevatel to one, and that's enough that the bittul should be held for all of the residents, and all of the residents acquire the rishus? Rashi has 2 explanation, one over here and one that he had on Daf Chavav previously, Chavav and Beis. One explanation is that perhaps you don't have to be mevatel to each and every one of them, because since the other residents were joined in an Eruv, they're considered as all one. They're considered as all one, and therefore being mevatel to one is in effect being mevatel to all the one. So that, therefore, you don't have to be mevatel to each and every one, because they're considered as one. And therefore, being mevatel to one is being mevatel to all of them. Alternatively, the pshat is that we say when he has in mind to be mevatel to one, really his das is that being mevatel to one means that he is being mevatel in their minds. Or his mind rather, he wants to be mevatel to each and every one of them. That's what his das is. That's what he has in mind right from the beginning. So that's the shaila. So Omar Lei Rabbah said, Sorach levatel kol echad ve'echad. Abaye said that he has to be mevatel to each one. So Abaye asked the shaila, do they have to be mevatel to each one? Rabbah said, you do. I'll ask you a kasha. Abaye asked a kasha. We learned in the Brisa the following. The following halachas legabi bittul. What are these halachas? If one person forgot and he didn't join the Eruv, and they were ma'arav together in the chaz, one person forgot he didn't join, he's mevatel rishus le'echad she'ira. He's mevatel rishus to one of them, one of the parties that did join the Eruv. So on the surface, this would seem to be the kasha to Rabbah. This would seem to be the kasha. So because it says to one of them, so it seems to be that you do not have to be mevatel to each and every one. It says that Surah Noisen Rishusa le'echad to one sheir. So the Gemara will deal with this, but this is the question that is being asked. We'll come back to it shortly. Right now, the Gemara is going through the whole brisa. So that's the first halacha legabi bil. The next halach is Shnaim She'irvu. If you have two people that joined an Erev, Noisan Rishusan Lechad Shlo Yirv, so they can be mevatel to the one that did not join the Erev. The two who joined the Erev can be mevatel to one that did not join. Ushnaim Shlo Yirvu, Noisan Rishusan L'Shnaim She'irvu. Now, two that did not join the Erev, they could be mevatel Rishus to two that were Ma'ariv. The two that were Ma'ariv together are like one. The two that did not join the Erev, they can be mevatel their Rishus to the two that joined the Erev. Or le'echad shelo Erev, or to one of the residents who did not join the Erev. So what is the case talking over here? That we're talking over here is that none of the residents joined in the Erev. No one joined in the Erev. So you can therefore say two can be mevatel to one. To that one person, the other two can be mevatel to one, and therefore he's considered to be the only person in the chutzner, and he can carry. But one person who joined the Erev, he cannot be mevatel rishus to one person that did not join, because the other person, if one of the person was Ma'ariv, who's joined an Erev, and only he's mevatel to the one that didn't join, well, the other person in the Erev, what about him? He didn't. If he wasn't mevatel rishus, then he would answer on the person that was Shalai Erev. So you can't have only one of the members, one who joined the Erev, being mevatel Shalai Erev, because of the other person would answer on. And two people that were Ma'ariv cannot be mevatel rishus to two people that did not join the Erev, because you have two people that didn't join the Erev, they answer on each other. The two will answer on each other. And two people that weren't Ma'ariv, they cannot be mevatel rishus to two people that weren't Ma'ariv, because again, you have two people, and you can't be mevatel to two people because they're answer on each other. Now, as far as our shaila, do you have to be mevatel to each and every one or not? So it says in the Reisha, that one that was not Ma'ariv, he could be mevatel to a person that was Ma'ariv. So heichidami, what's the case? If there's no one else with him, bari Ma'ariv. He said you're mevatel rishus, so the person who was le'echad she'iriv. Well, if there's nobody else there, who is he Ma'ariv with? So obviously there's somebody else there. Elav shita dikach rina badei. Must be that there's someone else there. Ugatane le'echad she'iriv, and it says you can be mevatel rishus to le'echad she'iriv. So doesn't that show you that you don't have to be mevatel rishus to each and every one of them? So Rabbi deal with this. Rabbi says hachmayaskina and the havum is. We're talking where he was there. Initially he was there, so they made an Erev together. But then he died. Afterwards he died, and therefore he's no longer, there's no one else there, so there's no one else to be mevatel rishus to. And therefore you can be mevatel rishus to him. But if the other person, the other resident who we made the Erev with is still alive, then it would not be sufficient. Rashi asks the question, and they deal with the question, well, even if he died, why doesn't his Yeresh Yarish in this? And therefore you should be deemed to have another resident over here. So Rashi says we're talking about travelers where there's no real ownership, they don't really own any real ownership in this land over here, because it's a shayora, they're traveling, so there's nothing to give over in Yerusha. So that's what he's talking, that the Hava umis. He was alive at the time they made the Erev, but then he died. Well, that the Sefer says, Aval ein echad she'iriv naisan rishusa le'echad shelo yiriv. One person who joined the Erev cannot be mevatel rishus to one person who did not. Now, if the other party is no longer alive, so the one who joined the Erev is the only surviving member, so it's one person. One person can be mevatel rishus to another singular person. Why can't he be mevatel? So am I like Elapshita the Yisa? So it must be that he is alive. And if you're saying in the Seifa that he's still alive, in the Reisha, we have to be talking about the same case where he's still alive. Where says Meteor? No, who says? Hakadisa. They're talking about two different cases. In the Reisha, he died, he's not alive. In the Seifa, he is. And Taid, I'll prove to you that this is the halacha, the Tani Seifa, the Reisha, because the Seifa, the Reisha says, Ushnaim shloi irvu, two people were not nice and rishusan, l'shnaim she'irvu. They can be mevatel to two people she'irvu. So it says to two people. L'shnaim in lechad. It's only to two, but not to one. So you see that you have to be mevatel to each and every one. It's not sufficient to be mevatel just to one of them. So Rabbi has a proof over here. Rabbi says, no. What does it mean? My lebeis. What does it mean to two? It means le'echad mi beis. It means from one of the two. It doesn't mean that you have to do it actually to two. It's from one of the two. Then why you have to say shnayim? You just say le'echad she'ireh, to one who is joined in the eruv. If you're telling me that it's only to one, then say le'echad she'ireh. If he made an eruv, there has to be two people there. So there's certainly obviously two people, so why does it have to say l'shnaim? Just say la'echad she'erev or la'echad shelo yerev. And then I know that there's two people and you're only mevatel to one of the two. So by saying l'shnaim, it means that you have to be mevatel to each of them. Kasha, it's like a kasha. Now the Gemara is going to go through the different cases of the Brisa, the different halachas, and analyze them. Echad shelo yerev naisin reshus la'echad she'erev. One member who did not join the Eruv, he can be mevatel reshus le'echad to one of them she'erev. Le'abaya, these, according to Abaya, it's talking where the other member of the Eruv is alive. So there's more than one member of the Eruv. There's more than one resident who joined the Eruv. V'kemashma, is teaching us, and it's teaching us that you don't have to be mevatel reshus to each and every one of them. To one is enough. And l'Rabba the havumis. Rabba's talking in the case is no, that he's no longer alive. And the chiddush is that, well, if there's only one that's here, that's alive, of course, he's the only one that you can be mevatel to. What's the chiddush? That we're not geyser, that if we allow you to be mevatel to one, where there's no one else alive, you might also be mevatel to one where there are other residents who are alive. Kamash malan, that we're not geyser. The next case is Ushnaim she'irvu, naisim reshusan, la'echad shelo yerev. Two people who join the Eruv can be mevatel to one that did not join the Eruv. Pshita, well, of course, it's a dover poshet. He's the only one there, and of course you can be mevatel to him. So Ma'odesem, you might think you might think that no, we would not allow this because since they joined the Eruv and he did not, so he's the only one that didn't, you might think that we give him a knas and fine him that he should not be able to carry, and bittul hashus shouldn't help because he did not join the Eruv. So we might think that we're not, we don't count in him. And two people that did not join the Eruv, they can be mevatel reshus to two that did join the Eruv. According to Rabbah, this is to show you the case we're talking about the Reish, because over here it says that they have to be mevatel reshus to two. So that shows you that you have to be mevatel reshus to each and every one. So it must be that in the Reisha that it says you're mevatel reshus to one is talking to havumis when he's no longer alive. Over here, the chiddush according to Abaya, who says you don't have to be mevatel to each and every one, two people that didn't join the Eruv, there's a chiddush. It wants to tell me the chiddush that even by two people who did not join the Eruv, you might think that we should be geyser, that we should say that two people cannot be mevatel, that because you might think that if two people can be mevatel, then you'll be mevatel to two people, and you can't be mevatel to two people cannot receive. They cannot acquire the rights. You might think that you'd be geyser in this case, kamash malan, that we're not geyser, that two people can be mevatel, the naisin reshus, even though two people are not naitin reshus. Or that two who did not join the Erev can be mevatel to one who didn't join the Erev. So here this is davar pashat. Lamali, why do you need to teach me this? So if they can join to two people that they can be mevatel to two people that join the Erev, well, we consider it as one, and therefore they can be mevatel to the join the Erev. Certainly they can be mevatel to one. You might think that that's only when some joined the Erev and some did not. But when nobody made an Eruv, so it's two people did not join the Erev. It's being mevatel, so nobody joined the Erev over here. So there is no Erev, and yet you can carry from the house to the Chaser al Yadei Bittul, the person who received the rights can carry. So you might think that in this case, but you might think that in this case, when nobody joined in the Eruv, you might think that this bittul should not help, so that people should not forget that an Eruv is required. We're not good. So you might have thought that we only allow bittul where some of them join the Eruv. So people will realize that carrying Eruv is required. But in this case, where no one joined the Eruv, and you're going to allow carrying al yadei bittul, and there's no Eruv, people will forget about the requirement of an Eruv. We're not good, sir. About one person, if he joined the Eruv, he can't be mevatel rishus to one person who didn't join the Erev. So what do I need this case for? What do I need this case for? Because it's pashat that if only one person is being mevatel his rishus, so if only one person is relinquishing his rights, the other person who's not, he'll answer. So what's the purpose of this case? So according to Abaya, what do we need this case? What's this coming to teach us? That we're talking about two people. So there's two people in the Eruv. One of them cannot be ma'arev to the person that didn't join the Eruv. Now, this in itself is not needed. But it's the Megala that on the very first case, we're talking where the two people are alive. And in the very first case where it says that you can have that the person who did not join the Erev could be mevatel to one, it's talking when the recipients are both alive and you only have to be mevatel to one and not to both. That's the chiddush to be megala on the reisha that we're talking about a case where both people are alive. And according to the Rabbah, I did the Tana Reisha, Tana Namasefa. According to Rabbah and Chanami, there's no need to, but it's just Agav. Since it says in the Reisha that one person that did not join the Eruv, that he can give his Rishus, human Vatal Rishus, to Le'echad She'irav, where the other party is not alive. So it says the reverse case. It says the corollary over here. It says the reverse case over here. But in Chanami, there's no Chiddush per se. The next case is two people that joined the Eruv cannot be mevatel rishus to two people that did not join the Eruv. So hasu lamali, what do I need this for? You can't be mevatel to two people because then they will answer on each other. So of course that the two people who joined the Eruv that cannot be mevatel to two that did not join because the two recipients will answer on each other. Whereas the chiddush is even if subsequently one of the recipients now he's mevatel to the second one, so you might think, well, at the end of the day, it all resides in one person, so it should be good. The bittul should be effective. You might think this case it should be mutter, kamash malan, came to be in the bottle loy havalish or yusabaya chotzer loy. The chiddush is that even if he subsequently one of the recipients is mevatel to the next one, it does not work. It's not effective because at the time that he received his rights from the residents who were irvu, when he received his rights, there was no heter to carry in the chotzer because one of the recipients would answer on the other one. The one of the recipients shaloi irvu would answer on the other one. So therefore, he can't subsequently be mevatel to the other person because he has nothing to be mevatel. There was no heter. He didn't receive any right to allow him to carry because at the time when he received the rights, there were two of them. So there's nothing to subsequently be mevatel to the second person. Then the last case is vein shnaim shaloi irvu noisnim rishus shnaim shaloi irvu. Two people that were not ma'arev cannot give reshus to two who were not ma'ariv. If the two were not ma'ariv, they can't give reshus to two that were not ma'ariv. So asul lamali. Well, of course they can't. Even if two were ma'ariv, they can't give it to two that were not ma'ariv. So two that were not ma'ariv. What's the chiddush over here? Asul lamali. The Gemara answers lo yitzricha damar kniel menas lahakdas. Even if they said at the time that they were being mevatel, they said to one of the recipients, "You acquire almanas that you're going to then be mevatel to the second, to the other party." So you might think in such a case that it should help. Again, it doesn't help because at the time that he received the rights from the residents, there was no heter to carry in the chotzer, so therefore there's nothing for him to transfer because he didn't receive a right that allows him to carry, and he has nothing to be mevatel, therefore, to the second person, so this also doesn't help.